Well, when I do these streams, by the way, I use Firefox. I just have a separate browser, no browser history, no bookmarks, a couple add-ons, and when I load up a site, when I load up a page, I have nothing on it. It's just a browser that I use for my streams. Ralph, for whatever fucking reason, decides to stream with his regular browser, which means that you sometimes get little peeks at his search history when he starts typing. And in this one, he gets a hit for how can I show her I've changed? Dr. David, Christian marriage help and advice. So that was today, or last night rather. And I happen to have that article right here. I've not read it. I've pulled it up. So Dr. David B. Hawkins, the Marriage Recovery Center from crosswalk.com, which is a Christian something or other. I don't know what it is, but it's got this article here. Okay. Your wife has left. She's told you she's not sure how she feels about you. She loves you but is not in love with you. Your mind is racing as you struggle to make sense of this whole mess. How could this possibly happen? We're Christians, and Christians should never separate or divorce. I haven't done anything that bad. As the days turn to weeks, you move gradually through some of the recognized stages of denial. This truly is happening. Begging her to stay, bargaining, hasn't worked. Outbursts of anger and attempts to control her have failed. You slip into depression and perhaps even a bit of acceptance. Still, you have one lingering, nagging thought. How can I show her that I've changed? This is a question that I'm asked all too frequently as women leave marriages at astounding rates. Equipped with increased earning power, training, and self-confidence, there are many women who choose not to tolerate dysfunctional marriages, and men scratching their heads at what they can do to show their wives they finally, albeit slowly, get it. Once strong and possibly dominant men, they now feel insecure and vulnerable in the face of rejection. Frantic attempts to make their wives stay are often met with gritty resolve by their spouse not to remain in a troubled marriage. Acts of desperation by men give way to anger, sadness, and panic. That's when I get the phone calls. Dr. David, you've got to help me get my wife back. You've got to talk to her to tell her I really am different and that our marriage can be saved. You have to make her see that I'm not the man I used to be. You have to make her see what a mistake she's making. You have to make her see. And so it goes. Although I hate to see these men in pain, my response often takes them by surprise. Are you really different from when they left? I ask. Absolutely, they say. Really, I say with suspicion. They left you 4 weeks ago, after years of misery, and you're an entirely different person suddenly. Yes, they persist. I can see the mistakes I made. I'll bet you can, I say reassuringly, but are you really different? Finally, they pause to consider the weight of what they're saying. We talk about the many issues leading to their wife leaving, the years of hurt and suffering their wife has experienced, and the likelihood that as much as they want to change, that change has not happened yet. What follows is the next layer of discouragement. I explain that they cannot possibly convince their wife that they have changed until several things have happened. If you find yourself in similar circumstances, consider the following challenge. First, LOL, calm down. Good decisions are rarely made out of a wild brain. Oof, Ralph should really take this one to heart. This is a good piece of advice for Ralph. While you may feel panic, take necessary steps to get needed support. Begin to take on the attitude that this will be a marathon, not a sprint. You must step back, size up the situation, and develop a long-term strategy. Second, get into counseling. To win this race, you will need an experienced coach, someone who can help you make immediate decisions as well as help with new issues that crop up down the road. Find a trusted counselor or psychologist who knows about managing the crises of separation. And he's taken that into advice too because he's hired Dick Masterson to be his life coach. Third, you must let go of trying to make your mate see anything. Efforts to convince your mate, that's a weird word for wife, but okay, you have changed are controlling and manipulating, and almost certainly will be met with resistance, irritation, and suspicion. Your mate is pushing away because they need relief from your old behavior. Fourth, focus on your issues that led up to the separation. This is not the time to try and win your mate back with words. It's time to focus on the behavior that led to the separation, changing the issues that have aggravated your mate. Get into counseling and find and address. I'll skip through the rest. Actually, oh, you know what? Only a couple paragraphs left. Fifth, meet your mate at their point of need. This is the time to minister to your mate indirectly. While you are bleeding and miss your mate, stop the selfishness of trying to get them to do what you want. Consider what they need. If it's space, give it to them. If it's reassurance you are working on your issues, let them know that you are in counseling to address those issues. Sixth, relax in the knowledge that your mate will see the changes as they are made. As you tune into your mate's needs and meet them, as well as address the issues leading up to separation, your mate will notice the changes. They will notice the changes by what you don't do as much as what you do. They notice you giving them space, they request, they note your involvement in their personal counseling, and they see and sense changes of gradually taking your character. And finally, let go and let God. You can only do so much. Well, that's all very good advice for Ralph. He'll take none of that to heart. Just petty, mean, spiteful, grandiose, vindictive behavior is all he knows and all he has ever known and all he will ever know. It's almost kind of amazing when you really sit and think about it and how he behaves and the things he's done. Just how much of it has been directly motivated by a pathological need to grandstand and spite people. It's like almost everything. If you look at every single thing he's done, you can trace it back to him acting in a pathetic man-child vindictive way. Having kids, having his first kid was despite me. Having his second kid was despite Faith. Going to Chris to record the arrest was done despite me as well. He was going to do a entire podcast episode just shit talking Mr. Vickers, but then he lost his court case against him and has a restraining order against him, allegedly, based on what we understand. I don't think Vickers can outright say that he won the case and he has a restraining order against him. I don't know. I haven't seen the court records, but I think he won recently this week. Adrienne Blair definitely won her case, and she had a case against him because out of spite he put up a incredibly pointed and vindictive article about her, which cost him his Patreon because he finally put like docs, like he posted where she lives and where she works on his blog, and that's what his Patreon was formerly for. So he lost that as well. It's just everything he does is the direct result of spite. It's the combustion engine of his life is continuous blow-ups over utter trivialities. It's all he's got. Very, very interesting person. He's become more interesting over time, I feel, just because of how he responds to the stimuli in his life.